Chapter 14. My marriage to Kelly turned out to be a lot different than my first marriage. For starters, I didn't get my wedding ring thrown at me on my honeymoon. Our honeymoon was awesome. We went to Disney World. I loved Disney back then. It was just so magical. We wore Mickey and Minnie hats and buttons that said "Just Married" everywhere we went. Mainly because we found out that people in the parks would give us free things when they saw us. We drank lots of alcohol that week and had lots of alone time at the hotel we stayed at. I had gotten one with the jacuzzi in the room. One night after we had drank a good bit, I had convinced her to make a video with me. It ended up being a video that I would watch over and over again for many years to come. Thankfully, I did not watch other adult videos much anymore during the beginning part of our marriage. Kelly, of course, kept the desires of my flesh satisfied during those days, but there was something that happened back when we had first met. Something that had made a huge impact on me when it came to watching those kind of videos with Kelly. It happened shortly after Kelly and I had begun sleeping together. Even though she didn't stay with me the night of our first date, it wasn't too long before I convinced her to. She seemed like a girl that would do pretty much anything I wanted. So I decided one night that I was going to take her to the adult video store. I told her that we were just going to buy some lingerie. Once I got her there, I convinced her to let me buy some videos. Of course, at that point in our relationship, I did not know anything about what she had been through as a child. At the time, she was just another girl that I was hooking up with. I couldn't wait to get back to the house. I immediately went back to the bedroom and popped in the first movie. We ended up watching both of them that night. Well, mainly me. She didn't seem to be interested in watching them and mainly focused on what she and I were doing. I, of course, focused on both her and the videos. It was pure pleasure for me that night. Later that night, after we had fallen asleep, I had a dream. It was the most vivid dream I think I have ever had in my life. We were laying in the bed together, and something ripped the covers off of us. Then all of a sudden, Kelly was being raped by someone that was invisible. I couldn't move, and I was forced to sit there and watch her being raped by what I could only assume was an evil spirit. It seemed so real while it was happening, and it truly scared me to death. I remember waking up in complete horror and shock. It actually took me a few minutes to convince myself that it didn't really happen. It was just so vivid, I couldn't get the visions out of my mind. The dream had affected me so badly that the next morning, the videos got hit with a hammer and were cast in the outside trash can, never to be seen again. At the time, I didn't realize the significance of what I had dreamed that night, but I can easily look back now and thank God for allowing that to happen. My relationship with Kelly got saved that night. If it were not for that dream, we definitely would not have made it to marriage. I would have continued to watch those videos, and it would have eventually destroyed our respect for each other and our love for each other. Satan tried to separate us many other times early in our relationship. One day while I was at work, I received a letter in the mail. It was from a girl that I had met back before I knew Kelly. I had met her through one of those online dating services, and she ended up being just a one-night stand. That next morning, she left and I never saw her again. She wouldn't even return my calls. I don't know how much time had passed since I had seen her last, but I read her letter in almost disbelief. It stated many things, but basically said that she had made a mistake and that she really wanted nothing more in the world than to have another chance with me. Thankfully, I did not give in to Satan's temptation, and the letter went into the trash can. I never heard from her again after that. Satan even tried tempting me with the girl I had dated back in high school for 4 years. Yep, the one that had worshipped the ground I walked on and the one I had cheated on so many times. She had called me at the car lot one day right after Kelly and I had met. I had not spoken to her in almost 10 years. For a brief moment, I was having thoughts about wanting to be with her again, and based on what she was saying on the phone, I thought that she actually wants to see me again. Her husband unexpectedly showed up from work and caught her talking to me on the phone. I never heard back from her again after that day. Those were not the only 2 times Satan tempted me with girls from my past. There were several. Another time was shortly after we had gotten married. I was sitting on the toilet one morning and received a text. It said, "Hey, good looking. I'm in town this weekend and I miss you." I didn't respond right away, so she sent another text and said, "It's Beth." Well, I knew it was Beth before she even told me because unfortunately, I had not deleted everyone's phone numbers in my phone yet, and her name showed up when she sent the first text. Beth also was someone that I had known before Kelly. She had been one of the bar girls that spent many weekends at the apartment Ross and I stayed at. It had been quite some time since I had spoken to her, so it was very much a shock to get a text from her. Thankfully, I didn't give in to this temptation either, and I didn't respond to her. I also deleted her number from my phone. It was very apparent, after thinking back to everything that happened, that Satan did not want me and Kelly together. God obviously had a plan for us, and Satan was going out of his way to try and keep it from happening. I can think of numerous things that Satan did to try and discourage us. Not only did he use people, he also attacked us physically. Kelly and I had started dating in the fall of 2006. In just a few short months later, something would happen to me that would forever change my life.